Well, good morning, Unity of Charlotte.
Good morning.
Welcome to this wonderful Sunday morning. Christmas is almost here. Can you believe it? No? It's December 16th already. Yes, and you can tell by the traffic, can't you? Everyone is just in such a hurry to get someplace. That's the time of year. Well, good morning. My name is Reverend Sally Robbins, and we are so blessed to have you here. Whether you're in the sanctuary with us this morning or whether you're watching via YouTube or Access 21, we're so grateful to have you with us. Sit back, relax. It's going to be a wonderful service for you today. If you're wondering what Unity of Charlotte is, if you're new to us, we are nurturing a deep, mature experience of God through the practice of unity principles. Simply put, we are here to love, grow, and serve. And that's it in a nutshell, which is why you see it on everything that we do. Love, grow, and serve. We believe spiritual community enhances our experience of life, making it richer, deeper, and even more expanded. It's just so much more fun together. And if you're joining us for the very first time today, we have a very special welcome for you. If you didn't get a welcome packet on your way in by one of our greeters, please stop by right around the corner as you walk out. There are welcome packets that give you a little bit more information about who we are and what we do here. If you have any questions, all you have to do is look for any of our greeters. They are denoted by a name tag with a blue ribbon. Those are the people that are specially trained to answer any questions you might have about who we are here. And if you're in need of spiritual support, we are very blessed to have a wonderful team that works with prayer requests. And you can fill out a prayer request again in the lobby, anything that you're, a challenge that you might be facing, or even if it's just to anchor in something that's really great going on in your life. Our prayer team is standing by, ready to support you in that. You can even go online, too. If you forget before you leave here, you can go to our website at unityofcharlotte.org, and you will see a place where it says prayer, and you can click, and that will go confidentially to that team. So feel free to do that as well. We have so many exciting things coming up for you. Every year, people look forward to our wonderful candlelighting Christmas Eve service, and that's no different this year. On December 24th, we're going to be having a wonderful, sacred and yet fun experience. The choir is doing special music. Reverend Marty will have a wonderful lesson to go with that. And it's just a really a time for you to step aside from the busyness of the holiday and really anchor into the sacredness of this time of year. So we really invite you to put that on your calendar. It's at 7 p.m. right here on December 24th. And it's a wonderful way to kick off your Christmas experience. And then on New Year's Eve, now this is my favorite, the Burning Bowl. I love the Burning Bowl. And that's a chance for you to really clean the slate and start the new year off right. So you'll be invited in that tradition, and that's, again, on New Year's Eve, 7 p.m. right here. You'll write what you'd like to release from 2019, anything that you're saying, you know what, I'm done with that. I'm ready to move on with something new. In 2019, you write that down on a slip of paper, and then we're going to throw it into the bowl, and then whoosh, we're going to burn it. We're going to incinerate it, which is a wonderful, energetic way for you to release all that you're ready to release. It's a fantastic experience, and we're going to have a sound bath with the crystal bowls, which is an incredible experience in itself. So you don't want to miss that New Year's Eve ceremony as well. Our annual business meeting will be on January 20th. This is the once-a-year time that we get together and discuss the business of the church, so we really need to have you here for that, and Reverend Marty would like to say a few more words about it.
Thank you. Yes, so just real quickly, I wanted to explain annual meeting, we'll elect new board members and do all of the things that go along with running our organization. We also have a provision in our bylaws that every 3 years membership is renewed. And so we're coming up on that. So we're going to try and shoot to have everybody who wants to renew their membership by January 15th so that when you come into the meeting, we'll know that you can vote or not vote. Here's the wonderful news. In the change of regimes, there is no database. So if you want to slip a fast one by me and say you're a member and you're not really, it's okay. But you'll see out here on the table here a little membership renewal form. So if you've been a member, please just complete that. We're going to get that into the database, get it updated. And the other piece of that on there, which would be lovely, it says when was your original date. So I know some people have been here for many years, and we're not going to check. So if you think it was 1945, I'm good. Whenever. But it would just be really lovely to know that information. So if you'll take a moment, we want to get those all done by January 15th, so we're off and running and operating like a truly professional organization. Thanks, Sally. Appreciate it. So a couple other things I would like to mention. One, the bookstore ladies have been shopping. So there's some wonderful new inventory. We had a group in here last weekend, and they were like, oh my gosh, this is such a good deal. And they were shopping and shopping and shopping. So sometimes we miss what's right in front of us. So I invite you to stop by the bookstore today if you've got some last-minute Christmas shopping. And the other announcement I'd like to make is our dear friend, Reverend Sally, who, like me, said she would never do pulpit ministry again, has now accepted an associate minister position with Centers for Spiritual Living in Asheville. Which I'm not sure how she's going to do and be here every Sunday, she'll work that out. So she's in the process of moving herself up to Asheville, and so we send her with our love and blessings, and so grateful for all you've contributed in this short time you're here. So let's give us the final prayer. No, it's not but would you pray us in today?
And I will be back. I'll be filling in as a guest speaker for Reverend Marty, so this is not goodbye. It's simply aloha for a little while. All right, so let's turn within. This is our time to go to that sacred space within each one of us. I invite you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Feel yourself firmly planted in your chair underneath you, supporting you. Know that you are the beloved son or daughter of God that is so precious. And so I know that as we turn to that space within us that knows that God is all there is nothing else than God. We know that there is one power, one activity, one light, one beauty, just one. And it is in that oneness, that deep sense of connectivity to the one, that we turn right now. We allow ourselves to surrender that human part of us that is having the spiritual experience on this planet, and simply allow Spirit to have its way. We open our hearts, we open our minds to receive that download that Spirit is doing right now. That we are open to the good that is so close. It's nearer than hands and feet, and we simply allow that we are that which is what sent us. We are made of the spiritual DNA. We are made of the God stuff. We are that one. We are on a lifelong mission of oneness. And so we turn to that place. And if we ever get caught up in the hustle and bustle of our everyday lives, we can simply return to the one. And so I speak my word this morning, recognizing that all is unfolding so beautifully, so perfectly in this world. Despite any outer chaos that might be being reported in the news, we know that all is unfolding so perfectly, that Spirit again is a part of everything that is happening in this world and in our lives. And so I simply give thanks for those that may have come in this morning with heavy hearts, that may be facing a physical challenge, might be facing a prosperity challenge, whatever is going on in our lives. I know that something is moving in the unseen for each person's greater good. That God is at work, God is on hand, God is arriving with a divine appointment at the perfect right time. I know that each one of us is simply saying yes to that greater experience, knowing that even if it's uncomfortable, if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't settle with us, that is causing us to move out of our comfort zone, that God is at hand. that there is something growing us, pulling us to a greater experience. I speak my word for every sacred community this morning, whether it be a mosque, a temple, a church, whatever it may be, or someone just simply walking in the woods. I know that there is the divine sacred in everything. And so I know that each minister, each cleric, each person who is called to the ministry of service is absolutely in alignment with their good and with their God. I speak my word for this country, knowing that we are absolutely in divine alignment, that even though it may look like something may be falling apart, that we are simply falling together. And that it is up to me, it is incumbent upon me, to bring my consciousness to every experience in my life. And so I simply let go. And with a grateful heart, I just say, thank you, Spirit, for all that there is to do and to be in this world, knowing that I can simply show up as love, show up as service, show up as kindness, show up as compassion, that is my duty, that is my calling, that is what I'm here to do today. And so I simply let go. I let it be so. And together we say, and so it is.
Celebrate the joy of the season. Stand up and sing with us.
You can remain standing as we say our affirmation together, and then it's all downhill from there. Together. My soul awakens to the light within. I am made whole as I awaken to this inner presence. My awareness of the divine expands and grows. I know the truth, and I am set free. My soul awakens to the light within. Thank you. Today's inspiration comes from Simeon, the new theologian. Now, you may not be familiar with him. He hasn't been on the planet since 1022, but still insightful. I like to go back to this. We talk often about New Thought, Ancient Wisdom, because New Thought is just a continuation of the truth that has been with us for years and years and years. But I love this particular passage. He says to us, we awaken in Christ's body. He writes, we awaken in Christ's body as Christ awakens in our bodies. And my poor hand is Christ. He enters my foot and is infinitely me. I move my hand, and wonderfully my hand becomes Christ, becomes all of him. For God is indivisibly whole, seamless in his godhood. I move my foot, and at once he appears like a flash of lightning. Do my words seem blasphemous? Then open your heart to him and let yourself receive the one who is opening to you so deeply. For if we genuinely love him, we wake up inside Christ's body, where all our body, all over, every most hidden part of it is realized in joy as him. And he makes us utterly real. And everything that is hurt, everything that seemed to us dark, harsh, shameful, maimed, ugly, irreparably damaged, is in him transformed and recognized as whole, as lovely, and radiant in his light. We awakened as the beloved in every last part of our body. You see, what he knew 1,000 years ago is what we continue to know, that the Christ is a living presence, and those who awaken to that presence are transformed and renewed through the renewal of our mind. Thank you. Our special music today is by a young lad we found on the streets and decided to give him a chance to see what he could do. Please welcome Lawrence Tolliver.
This is a soulful rendition of a very familiar Christmas song, O Little Town of Bethlehem.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lawrence. Beautiful. I do love this time of year. So last Sunday we had service, and part of the reason why we had service is because we had a whole group of people who'd come from all over the country to be here, and we were going to be here, so we went ahead with it. So it was a small group, but it was such a lovely opportunity. One of the facilitators of the workshop is also a cantorial soloist who led us in the lighting of the menorah, which was absolutely breathtaking. I've never actually gone through the ceremony, and so she sang the songs that go with it, and it was just beautiful. So I share that because this season is a season of light. A thing in itself. It's not coincidental that we have all these major holidays, not just the Christian tradition, but all of the major holidays have celebrations during this time. And they involve light, and they involve lighting of candles. They involve lighting of the trees and bringing the outside in. And part of it has its roots in pagan traditions. So there you go. Which is lovely, because we're recognizing God in all things. And we know that as the days are growing shorter and shorter, it is not an eternal thing, but rather it is the beginning of a new cycle of life. And so the Christ is born in this season as an awakening to who we are. So we speak in our tradition. It's always fun to kind of go back and do traditional songs and do these things that we associate with Christmas and sing those and perhaps relive childhood memories, even if we have a little bit of a different interpretation of what those mean. For me, the recognition and the realization that this one life is present and available for all who are willing to awaken to it is so profound. And so I often talk about sort of my change as I grew up, and I mean spiritually grew up, from a recognition of God as, rather than being outside of myself, but as a recognition of God as the living presence, the life of the one that is available to all, that closer than my hands and feet, nearer than my breath, is this one. And when I awaken to that, I am reminded of my holiness, of my purity, of my beauty, of my strength. And you say, well, that's kind of arrogant, Reverend Marty. I'm like, yeah, but truth is truth. You got to go where you got to go. Now, if I were saying that about me only, then that would be arrogant. But it is not because I am something special, but because I have a recognition of who I am. You see, I believe profoundly that the great spiritual masters who have come to us through the ages to remind us who we are have spoken to this truth. And they've said it in different ways. They've related it in different cultures and different customs. I'm always sort of intrigued. I have so many wonderful books of collected sayings or collected wisdom. And whether it's Lao Tzu or it's a Sufi writer or it's a Christian mystic, there's an eternal truth that comes through again and again and again, that we are the light of the world. We are the love of the world. We are the wholeness of the divine expressed in form. So Jesus, I believe, came to help us awaken to who we are. Now, I also notice in the tradition of humanity, what we tend to do is we begin to make our religion about the person as opposed to of the person. Do you see what I'm saying? When I'm saying that it's easy to make it about Moses. It's easy to make it about Jesus. It's easy to make it about Buddha. And when we do that, it's easy to make it about Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, for goodness sake. Right? Well, Charles said. But Charles would probably want us to evolve as in our understanding. My teacher, Ernest Holmes, said, keep open at the top. Keep open to truth as it is revealing itself. But you see, somehow it's easier for us sometimes to make our tradition about the other rather than recognizing the responsibility that comes with that awakening. You see, I find that if I am the light of the world, it's somewhat inappropriate to flip people off while I'm driving through traffic. You know, I don't know where that came from, but it's truth is truth, right? It's Christmas, and everybody's like, oh, we're all love and light until we get on the freeway and you're going to try and take my space. Or, then it's like, oh, all holds barred, right? I'll be loving and kind when I get home, but right now, that's my parking space and I'm getting it. Oh, gosh. You see, Ralph Waldo Emerson taught us, he said, great are those that the spiritual is stronger than the material force. That thoughts rule the world. That when we awaken to the spiritual truth and reality of who we are. You see, this is so fundamental. It is so fundamental. I feel like I talk about it every single Sunday, but because it's true. That if we identify with the physical, if we think that the physical is the thing, then we're always trying to manipulate the physical so that we can have the spiritual experience. What this teaching has taught me is that if I were to seek that spiritual experience, that I would do well to follow the words of the Master when he said to us, seek first this spiritual dimension, and then all things are added to us. All things are revealed as we are moving into this time of awakening. As Sally referred to in her prayer, that despite what we see around us, despite what we're experiencing in our world, the truth of who we are is greater than that. Now, we still have the responsibility to bring it forward. You see, throughout all philosophy, but particularly in the Christian philosophy, there is this story of darkness and light, and that we are to bring forth the light. In Luke, it says to us, but if your whole body is enlightened, and there is no darkened part, it shall be shining entirely like a lamp, giving you light by its flame. No darkness. No darkness. I was rereading The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, and he's such an eloquent writer and such a thought-provoking person, but he was talking about this idea of understanding our heart. And he was speaking really more from the context of the heart chakra, that energetic center that is our heart, rather than the physical organ. Although I do think there is a relationship between the spiritual and the physical. Have you ever heard anybody say he has a dark heart? Right? So he was saying to us that, he says, two kinds of experience can occur that block the heart. You are either trying to push energies away because they bother you, or you are trying to keep energies close because you like them. In both cases, you are not letting them pass, and you are wasting precious energy by blocking the flow through resisting and clinging. He says if you're willing to experience the gift of life instead of fighting with it, you will be moved to the depth of your being, to the secrets of your heart. You see, what we want to do, think about when we're open. Think about when we're receptive. Think about when we're grounded and centered. We're in that observer state where we're witnessing life happening. We're moving out of the dualistic way of thinking and experiencing life in each moment. And life in each moment, I go back to Ecclesiastes that speaks to us of the season of all things. Unto everything there is a season. And when we are enlightened, we appreciate the season. It's winter. And so in winter, different things happen. Winter is a powerful time for deepening. Winter is a powerful time of going inward. Winter is that time of spiritual hibernation, if it were, as it were, so that the coming light, the coming spring, is prepared and ready. But what we do as humans is we often want to hang on. We say, this is good. I want to keep it this way forever. Forever. Sometimes that gets a little clingy. Or we say, well, this is painful, so I want to resist it. I want to push it away. But what Michael Singer is teaching us is the same thing that Buddha was teaching us when he taught us that the source of all of our suffering is either in our resistance or our attachment. We're attached to something, we want it to stay the same. I don't know if you've ever done that relationship. You're mine now. Right? That's so freeing, right? I will hang on to you, you will, right? Or been in that relationship, right? It doesn't really seem to work very well. It's about letting go and allowing people to grow and to become and to experience and to express who they truly are. That type of relationships allows us to dance together, right? We want to resist, and I often speak to this, but I see it as somewhat of a flaw in New Thought that we don't have a good mechanism for dealing with darkness in our lives. We say, well, let's pray it away. Right? Let's heal it. Now, I'm all for praying, and I'm all for healing. But I'm also in that state of recognition that the darkness is sometimes the way we become enlightened. Each one of us can think of a time in our life that may have seemed like the worst possible thing ever, and now we see it as the greatest gift because it forced us to evolve. It forced us to become more. You see, I speak of the hero's journey over and over, but that idea that we go through that ordeal because the gift lies on the other side. People come to us in wanting prayer before they're going through the supreme ordeal, when they're just being tested. They're like, can we just pray this stuff away? This is annoying. So let's just pray it away. And I say, well, maybe what we really want to do is pray for the courage, the wisdom to move through it so that we receive the gifts. See, the word courage comes from the word in Latin that refers to the heart. Did you know that? That to be courageous is to be open-hearted. So when we're enlightened, when we're open, when we're receptive, then we experience life in its fullness. Now, what I've also found is that as I'm willing to be open and receptive to spirit in the moment, spirit in the now, when I'm willing to move out of my judgmental mind and be into my unified mind, the unity principle, when I see all things as God in all of its forms, then I can love what is. I can be with what is. I can be in my pain, in my sorrow, in my loss, and still be connected to the divine. I'm often reminded that this is why we have come here. This is why we chose this ticket. I call it the E-ticket, standing for Earth ticket. Some of you are old enough to remember when they had tickets when you went to Disneyland. Apparently they have some new electronic thing. Oh my God. You realize you're getting older sometimes. I'll speak about myself. So I'm in Vegas for some convention thing a few years ago, and I'm like, you know what? I've got this roll of quarters that's been sitting in my drawer for all this time. I'm going to Vegas with a little mad money. I was ready to get down with the gambling, right? They don't take quarters anymore. They have these little card things. I don't know. So I think I spent it on wild women and booze. I don't know what I did with the $10. I should have invested. But that was Vegas. What are you going to do, right? Right? Life continues to evolve and to change, and I'm just reminded that I must change and evolve with life. I can't hold on to what was, even though I loved what was. And I can't resist what is now. See, sometimes we were having this conversation it was lovely. I got to spend a little extra time with Arlene, who is, so she comes from the Jewish tradition, and it's so sweet to have a soulful friend that you can have a open and loving dialogue with, and not have it be, well, Christians say this, but just like, tell me about your tradition. And I was just open to her heart, and she was sharing it that many of the synagogues are experiencing the same thing that churches are. That the youngsters want to do something else. They're not seeking this tradition the way we have presented it. And so it gives us an opportunity to either evolve or die. Have you noticed that's kind of how it works? That we either evolve or it goes away. So I'm always in this question, who do we need to become now? And I'm finding myself more and more in search of deep, rich spiritual experience. That's why that simple lighting of the menorah ceremony was so profound for me. Just the sweetness and the wonder of a tradition that has carried on for thousands of years. That's why when we allow ourselves to move into the Christ-centered awareness of Christmas, it's so deep and powerful and profound. It reminds us of who we are. You see, when Jesus spoke to the people, he said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Now, when we look at what does it mean to follow Jesus, we're not talking about worshiping Jesus. I think that's a profound difference. To be a follower, to be a disciple, is to be willing to embrace that presence and that power that became so fully orbed in him that people could not help but see the divine when they saw him. That presence, that power, is who we are. So I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. We are the light of the world, awaiting our recognition of it. So we want to practice keeping our heart open. Buddha taught us ways of being still, of being in meditation, of being in oneness, letting go of resistance, letting go of attachment, being present for what is. Jesus taught us profoundly the art of compassion, the art of being in love, to see everyone as our brother and sister. And he taught us that the way we keep that heart open is through forgiveness, which is really just a conscious choice to reopen the heart. Is it not? We think it has this whole thing, and it's fun. I can't wait for a burning ceremony. I loved it. It's like, whoosh, yay, right? But it's really an outward symbol of opening our heart again, of letting our heart be dark, but recognizing our oneness with the light and being the light in the world, that we are called to go forth and to shine that light, to be spiritually aware, to see love in everyone, to recognize our brothers and sisters in all things. You see, Matthew says to us very clearly, you are the light of the world. You cannot hide a city that has been built upon a mountain. And they do not light a lamp and set it under a basket, but on a lampstand. And if it gives light to all who are in the room, thus your light will shine before the children of humanity, that they may see your good works, and they may glorify this presence, this power we call the Father in heaven. You are the light of the world, he says to us very clearly. Not a lot of equivocation in that, is there? But we must recognize who we are. We cannot expect. You see, part of why I think we like to have the Savior, the person, because we think they'll do the work. Like, you do it. You heal me. But the recognition is that light that is shared is what does the work. Jesus said to us, not I, but the Father within me that does the work. It is not you that does the work. It's not our little healing group that does the work. They create a space in which you can remember who you are, and revelation occurs. We reveal the truth. The truth is made manifest in our lives, and it is a beautiful thing. Dr. Howard Thurman, as you know, one of my favorite writers, wrote this passage, and I just wanted to share it because we're in this beautiful time. He says, Hanukkah and Christmas spring from the same womb and are excuse me, and are mothered by the same brooding gift. One marks freedom from tyranny and preservation of the eternal light for all of the generations. The other announces that there is a presence in the common life, a light that lightens every person that comes into the world. You see, all of these traditions have their basis in the same God, in the same light, in the same love, in the same truth. And so we can explore all of those truths, all of those lights, all of that wisdom. And rather than needing to defend our way of being or justify or anything else, we just appreciate that every person is here to shine their light. And that our job is to remind them who they are by modeling for them who we are. I am the light of the world. Let us pray. As we simply just turn inward, as we sense and we feel that presence that defies description, that presence, that power, that love, that being, that when we move beyond the judgmental mind into the observer mind, into the witness state, we see and sense and feel this loving presence that delights in its self-expression, that reveals itself in and through and as all of creation. That the first creation was the creation of light. And it was good and very good. So this day we remember the truth of who we are. We bear witness to this presence and this power that is resonating through us, awaiting our recognition of it. We open our hearts fully to the presence of unconditional love. We remember the truth. We allow wisdom to guide and direct us. We allow wholeness to delight in its self-expression through us, through every cell, through every system, through every physical part of our being. We bear witness to the light and the glory of the divine in the most simple and humble of ways. So let us give thanks this day for this opportunity to remember who we are, to go out into the world, to allow our light to shine brightly, to place that light on a hill, on a stand, so that others might find their way. How grateful I am for this opportunity to be together in spiritual community, to remember who we are, because I know that this spiritual community, this unity of Charlotte, is a blessed divine idea unfolding perfectly. We bless our brothers and sisters around the planet. We're moving into those words that we sing so easily at this time of year of peace on earth, of goodwill for all, not as a sweet, cute carol, but as a way of being. That there is an awakening taking place The old is falling away and the new is made manifest. And so as always, I bless all priests, rabbis, ministers, teachers of every faith. For I recognize the many pathways to the one. I bless them all and name them good. Giving thanks this day for the many blessings, for the power of this consciousness revealing itself through the laws of mind. Through the power of the living Christ, I simply release this word, knowing that it is so. As together we say, and so it is. Amen. Will you please welcome? Aren't you so glad we gave this kid a shot? There he was, standing on the roadside. Little sign that said, "We'll sting for food." So we got him covered.
I do get to eat, as you can tell. This lovely song is called Shout for Joy by Odetta, I believe. Oh Lord, shout for joy. 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 Mary had a baby.
Shout for joy.
Mary had a baby.
Shout for joy.
Born in the stable.
Shout for joy.
Born in the stable.
Shout for joy.
They laid him in the manger.
Shout for joy.
They laid him in the manger.
Shout for joy.
They named him King Jesus.
Shout for joy.
They named him King Jesus.
Shout for joy.
He was the Prince of Peace, Almighty Counselor, King of Kings. At Christmas in the morning, shepherds came to see him.
Shout for joy.
Wise men brought him presents.
Shout for joy.
King Herod tried to find him.
Shout for joy.
They went away to Egypt.
Shout for joy.
Mary rode a donkey.
Shout for joy.
And Joseph walked beside them.
Shout for joy.
With angels watching over.
Shout for joy.
With angels watching over.
Shout for joy.
Oh Lord.
Shout for joy.
Oh Lord.
Shout for joy.
I say, oh Lord.
Shout for joy.
Oh Lord.
Shout for joy.
He was the Prince of Peace, a mighty counselor. He was the King of Kings. Oh Lord, shout for joy. Thank you.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Thank you. So I'm sorry, just to be clear, so next Sunday we're going to have our normal service, and then on Tuesday night or whatever Christmas Eve night is, we'll have our candle lighting service. It'll be lovely and wonderful. Greg James will be here in the live version, which will be really fun. And I know these kids are working on some really fun stuff. So it's just going to be a lovely evening. So we invite you to avail yourself. I know many people will be traveling over the next period of time, so be safe, be still, remember who you are. So let's stand and join together for our prayer of protection and to sing the peace song. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Eternity.